Hello and welcome back, and that is right, today we want to talk about a new version of Synology's Disk Station Manager that we've learnt about, DSM Enterprise. And I do know there is going to be a certain percentage of people watching this, and certainly a certain percentage of people that have followed this brand, that is not going to be overly keen on one of those words. Enterprise, let's face it, has been Synology's path of choice for a number of years, so a lot of us shouldn't be that surprised that an enterprise version of DSM is being rolled out. However, it's not quite that straightforward. So real quick, DSM Enterprise, the quick TLDR, it is a very specific version of Disk Station Manager that is rolling out for the PAS systems, those new NVMe focused flash rack mount solutions from the brand. We've already talked about it in a video last year during Computex and a couple of times before then as well. This is that new massive 48 bay U.2 and U.3 dual milli-SAS drive systems. This is a dual controller running on an EPYC controller, CPU, dual controller architecture with 64 gig of ECC that goes all the way up, by the way, to the terabytes of RAM if need be, across each of the individual controllers. It's active, so high availability is the order of choice. This alongside supporting up to 7 expansions there with 10 gig out the gate and multiple PCIEs for your 100 gig and 25 gig cards respectively. There's even a SATA 12 bay 2U version as well. There's going to be rocking out and supporting alongside this version of DSM Continuous Availability Manager, or CAM. This video is not about all of that, but it's about DSM Enterprise. Because the enterprise hardware from Synology, this isn't the first time we've seen the brand splinter off tailored versions of Disk Station Manager. Everything from the unified controller, the UC series, right the way through to when we've seen surveillance optimized versions of their software, right the way down to the bottom end, by the way, with BSM, or B Station Manager. This video is more about what this means. I know this is going to come across as kind of old man yells at clouds style of worry, but Synology Enterprise as a software platform is a streamlined version. It has removed all of the apps barring a very small handful. These are File Station, Hyper Backup, the Logs Manager, SAN Manager, Secure Sign-In, Snapshot, SMB Manager, Storage Manager, Universal Search, stuff like that, and some of the back-end stuff as well with like PHP and connected things. But alongside this more streamlined version, they've obviously got these more optimized flash and continuous ultimate failover architecture being built in here with the dual controllers working there, accessing the same media, thank you SAS. But at the same time, it has introduced a subscription model, and that's the worry. Now, to be fair to Synology here, DSM Enterprise is technically not a subscription model. It is not license-led. However, the adjacent software maintenance service, or SMS, is. This is a license that is going to be required for each individual PAS system, and this is how you access software updates. Things like your individual app updates and the overall system security and feature updates. If you don't renew this license, you don't get them. It doesn't bar you from utilizing your PAS system, generally moving forward offline and presumably with online services. But at the same time, without this license, you're not getting those updates, which almost certainly are going to have those security updates rolled in. And again, to be fair, this isn't the first time we've seen Synology go down this road of license-based operating systems. Their Active Protect appliance range and all those DP devices there. We've seen licenses for things like cameras and stuff like that. We already talked about that a week or so ago with regards to camera licenses. But my concern is a tipping point, because the more we see DSM divulge into different versions which are license-led, and I get it, devs got to be paid, but when it's a whole appliance being provided, I am concerned about any kind of bleed that would come from this DSM Enterprise into not so much Rack Station, but certainly the SA and the XS series, because it is an easy model to suddenly expand. And all you've got to do is change a potential DSM-8, change apps and services between iterations of DSM. And we've already seen it with DSM 7.1 going into 7.2, 7.3. We've seen apps come and go. And all of us are looking at our beautiful, beautiful, wonderful, active backup for business and wondering, is this where Synology draws the line? Again, none of this affects standard DSM currently. None of this seemingly affects more than the PAS series. But Synology rolling out an enterprise version of their software now, it wouldn't surprise me if moving forward a lot more enterprise level kit starts rolling out with this same software. Synology is a finite scale company and it can't run so many different software revisions at the same time without something giving. Let's look at their router platform. How many OS updates and the frequency of the OS updates have we seen on SRM? When it comes to B Station versus DSM, if they're running all of these concurrent softwares at the same time, there's going to come a point where the one that's generating the most revenue is going to become the preferable. I don't see this streamlined version of DSM, in the case of Enterprise, filtering its way down to Disk Station. We've already talked about that. There are, this isn't a software platform for people that want to knob around on, some homebrew container. But at the same time, with BSM growing up there and enterprise level platforms coming down, DSM gets squeezed and has to become profitable because it is arguably the most used software of the lot, but it's not generating the most return revenue. Again, none of this is based on anything Synology have told me, and in the next week or two, we're going to be at Computex, hopefully talking to Synology there, and it'd be great to find out a little bit more about the long-term plans for the software on their platform. Hopefully, all of this is just for that enterprise platform, for a target demo that is used to licenses that would rather pay to know they have got that limitless failover option. But let's talk about it more in the comments. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I will see you next time.